Hey everybody, welcome to Painting for Pleasure. I'm your host, Tony Visco. We're going to do something exciting today. We're going to do a heavy seas crashing on the shores. Actually, I shot this. This was basically a shot that was somewhere down in the Rhode Island area, Tiverton area, a long time ago, and kind of nice. It's got a couple of homes on the peninsula that's going out in the bay area here. This heavy wave crashing in. Thought maybe it might be fun to try. Gives us some exercise and the ability to learn how to do waves as they crash in the shore. Now, I've got over here. Here, let's take a look at. If I can find the shot. This is a black and white shot that I'm working from right here. So let's take a look at that. Okay. Okay, so what we've got is, like I said, all of this stuff. I'm going to eliminate this big. This is a little bit hard to read. Don't even like it, actually. It doesn't work well from a compositional point of view. And I'm going to get this wave rather than going straight up in the area. I'm going to get this sort of going back. But this is all sort of coming in here and doing something like this. There's some rocks in the foreground. I want to sort of downplay those. Maybe focal point will be somewhere up in this area here. Okay, so let me put this aside. Let's see up here, and let's get my brush, and we're gonna do is we're gonna wet the paper. We're gonna wet the paper down. Now we're gonna try to keep the paper wet as I go down. I'm gonna come right down in through this area here, right across my existing wave, because I need to sort of wash that in, coming right down in here into the water area, sort of around those homes. And what I'm going to do is let this this is going to end up, we'll let this wet up a little bit, nice. I'm going to try to keep the water, or the moisture, keep coming down on this. Now what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to tape the bottom too. So as I work this for us, we can get a feel for. Let me just get a couple of. This will curl up. Okay. We'll get a couple of corner tapes down here just to keep it flat, as flat as possible. All right. And now that we got this wet, what I want to do is I want to remove some of this, dry some of this out as these waves come off. So let's start with, we're going to do a cerulean blue sky, nice bright sky. So we'll do a nice cerulean blue sky into this wet area. Let the water just sort of take and handle all of this. We want a nice, strong cerulean blue. And it's not wet. I'm not doing it really. This is not wet. It's sort of like more milk in terms of water, milk or cream instead of water. And I'm putting in this thing so we get a nice strong value going in here. And I'm going to end up. Doing the same thing over here. We want to I want this wet. Okay. And what I want to do is I want it nice and wet around the wave. So we're going to add some cobalt blue to this. And then we're going to add also I'm going to add cobalt blue because we want the sky nice and vibrant. And then we're going to start to come in here and we're going to add a little bit of warmth at the bottom. Drop my brush. Add some warmth at the bottom. Okay. sort of horizon warmth, I guess. Let that all wick together. And let me pick this up here. We got a little something in there. Get rid of that. So what I want to also do here as well, this is nice and wet, I'm going to take a little bit of just clear water here. We're just going to because this is, after all, this is water that's wicking up, that's splashing up. Okay, so that's going to be important to do that. We'll create the illusion now. All of this is going to be white water up in this area here. This is white water over here. This is white water coming down in this area here. Over here is some rocks. So we're going to end up, let me come over here, and we're going to paint this area here is my blue water, and I want this wet. And so we want to make sure that we get this, but we don't want it too watery, and we also want it to be darker. All right, so we're going to come in here and just start to, we have white water coming in over here, and this is going to be all wet over here, and it's all going to be white water in here. It's going to be white water in here. This is going to sort of start to come down. This is going to be white coming over here, so we're going to start to roll this way. And again, we want it darker at the bottom. Okay. We want to make sure that we've got some nice wave action over here. So it's a combination of cobalt blue, burnt, French ultramarine blue, a little bit of cerulean blue, and notice I'm putting a little bit of value in there, and which is some water, wetting this up a little bit. All right. This is, we're going to just come down here. I think that's what I'll do. We'll just make this here wave. Do something like that. And we'll make that crash there. Okay, so let's keep this going. Now, I have to work fast, so forgive me, because it's the only way I'm going to be able to get this done. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to, and then I'll stop, and you guys can sort of work this up. But we've got water coming in here, right? All this waves are breaking, and we got water coming in. And in order for me, again, to try to get this thing so that it's effective, I've got to work a little bit on the quick side. All right, so we're going to come in here and do a little bit of water. Then I'm going to come in here with just plain water down here, because this is going to be white. This is just plain water. It's got a little bit of, okay. And now I'm going to add a little bit of, what I'm doing is I'm coming in here and I'm mixing a little bit of my opera with my blue. And we're going to come in over in this area here. Okay. And then we're going to come back in with my cobalt blue. So what I'm doing is I'm just setting this all up here, all right? Setting it all up. Sorry about the noise. My brush keeps banging down here. Okay, so wet water, this wet water, and we're going to come in here, and now as the water creeps up, some of it's going to be white, some of it's going to be blue water, white foam. Okay. And the same thing that's going to happen over here. We just want to, let's just come in and wet it. This is just colored water now. Around my rocks in this area here. So my foundation is basically right there for me right now. I'm going to actually end up coming and lifting some of this out of here. Let me take a tissue. This is all, well, I'm not going to do that. It looks like it's just going to, I've dried it. It's too much right now. I can't lift it off. I don't think I can lift it off here, but that's going to be my sky anyway, so it's all right. My sky is going to be all in this area here. I want to make sure that that's right. This is all wicking together. Nice, that's doing a nice job right there. So my blue's set, all right? And just clear water, again, to keep this. And what I'm going to also do is, like I said before, I want to just get some of this white water. Okay. I just picked up a little bit of cobalt blue here too as well. And making my lazy, this is sort of lazy, sort of Z shapes. Then I'm going to come over here. Now that's going to be white up in that area there, so that's white water there. And we'll start to fill in a little bit more of this value. Change up the value of that a little bit more. Now we got change up the value of some of the heavy waves that are coming down here too, because we've got some real heavy stuff that's sort of sliding in. Well, we're going to make this really heavy. Now, when heavy by heavy, I'm talking about we're going to get this denser, darker, more value in this area here. More value in some of these areas here. And certainly a little bit more value along this area here as this comes in. I've got my dagger brush, which is a great brush for this. And I want to come down. And adding, see what I'm doing is I'm running some water into it. All right. So it looks like it's coming up and over. And I can create that with a little bit of a, with my dagger brush. I got a little bit of a point on this thing, so it works out pretty good. So I apologize again for working quickly, but it's the only way I'm going to be able to get this real loose effect. I'll slow down. What I'll do is I'll stop the tape. I'll stop the video so that you guys can catch it up, but I have to move relatively quickly. And so I can slow down a bit. Let me see if I can get this. This is all wet in here, so I'm just playing around with water. All right, so what I'm doing is this is white water in here, so I'm putting a little bit of dark behind the white water. I'm going to do the same thing with right here. There's all white water in here. We'll do a little bit of dark behind that. Now, see, with the thin brush, I can sort of control some of this stuff a little bit better, a little bit more, right? So I soften some of this out a little bit more. Because this is all, again, the idea behind here is that it's white water. More purplish in some of these areas. Let's say a little bit darker and so that's dark. We'll soften this up a bit here. There. So it's some hard edges, and basically what I'm really doing is it's some hard edges and some soft edges. Now we're rolling. These waves are rolling in. And this is all sort of like rolling in. And there's no easy, I want to say there's no easy way for me to tell you this other than to say what you need to do is you need to just sort of work the whole area. I'm working some of it with water, some of it, if I can, let me see if I can get some of this to move like I want it to do. Because I'm just using water in here right now. And the idea again behind here, to get this nice white area coming in here with some water that's rolling in here. We need to take advantage of this. Notice I left this skipping feel over here. I moved my brush real quick off there, and I left some white in there. So what I'm going to do is take advantage of that, because that could be white water as it churns onto the surface of the water in front of it. Okay, that's the idea. We're just trying to get this thing see if I, whoop, excuse me for a second. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just getting my general feel for my mid-ground on all of my ocean as it rolls in, as the waves break and roll in. Now here's the idea. The idea is that we're creating movement that's turning. It's turning like this. It's cupping and turning like this. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we get that feel. And so what I've got is I'm using real light paint, mostly water with a little bit of that bluish cast to it, all right? And we're just giving us very light, these really light lines. Creating that effect of water that rolls over, waves that roll over. Yeah, like this right here, right? Here's a little bit darker. Okay. Now, to make this a little bit, what I did is I just came in here and made this a little bit of I took a little bit of opera, a little bit of splotches of a little bit of opera here and there. I want to mix that up a bit more. All right. Very light. Okay, so that it doesn't look all blue. The thing is that you want to stay away from it being monotonous and too much. Just if it's all blue, it won't work. So I need to soften some of this up over here. So let's get a little bit of water. I don't know what we can do is we can try to soften this up in the background over here. All right. Now, again, what I'm doing is I'm adding just a touch of water here to just lift some of this out. Make it a little darker. So you've got this sort of wonderful wave. This is great right here too. Let's lift this up a little bit. Maybe Not much, just want to get something up there. Give you that feeling, and this is really going to be dark. Back in here. We'll make that really nice and super dark. Adding a little bit of burnt sienna. You know, my combination is still the same. I'm using all the same colors, so I'm basically using a combination of burnt sienna, French ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, and my cerulean blue in opera. A little bit of yellow too, obviously. So we want to create that. Nice dark area right there. And these little touches, I'm not dark everywhere, but just all right, so we got that coming in. That's sort of rolling in, so that's kind of good. All right, so I'm going to leave this, let's just leave this alone for a bit. I can go back in here, add a little bit of water in here. Now, this is just tonal water, is all I'm doing. I'm laying, it's sort of like you're layering tonal water onto tonal water, just to get these subtle changes, just oh so subtle changes. You don't want too much paint in this stuff. I'm going to put some right in here, white water right there, so we're just going to get some subtle changes in here. Right, so got a little bit of water going across. See if we can pull out. Maybe we can pull some of this out of here and make this a little bit lighter. Add a little bit of white. There you go. See, create a little sweep here. A little sweep here. With this darker stuff, you can do this. So you can come in here and lift this out a little bit there. Okay. Well, this darker stuff is nice. Okay. You know what I'm talking about? All right. And ooh. Let's see what we got here. All right. All right, so we got some activity and some action waves over there. we do want to soften some of these up. Don't want them all hard, so we just and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some of this a little bit darker right in here. All right, so this is what we're doing is we're losing a lot of the real dark under here too, right now, because it's as it dries, it gets a little bit, it dries up lighter. So we're going to come back in here and I'm going to just go in and put some darker value. The darker value I'm mixing is cobalt and opera together. Okay. It's going to work out our ocean waves breaking first. Okay. Good. Good, 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 good. Like it. Let's get some real darks in here. Turn this black. Waves breaking. Kind of cool. How to do waves. Breaking waves. Little darks here and there. You don't want too many of them because this is not, the darks are only to enhance this. The darks are not, this is not a dark painting. This is going to be a mid-value painting, roughly a light to mid-value painting. So you don't want to necessarily get into a situation where you're doing too many darks. We're going to end up actually putting some darks up in this area here. Okay. And we've got some things that are happening over here where we have this water coming in. All right, so we can do something with that, do something with this here. Let's get some, so I'm going to change this up a little bit, maybe. What I did is just change the color up a little bit. All right, I added some added some cerulean blue into this thing. And I'm going to add, let's also add a little bit of lavender in here too. I want to change it up, but I don't want it too busy either. Busy in that you need busy because there's a lot of action in these waves. Okay, so now we're going to start. I'm going to go back over here a little bit, leave this alone for a while, and I'm going to start to do my area back here. So we're going to get some, we're going to come in here and we're going to do some rocks or cliff structure. Okay, so we don't. This is not wet. This is dry, and I'm painting wet on dry in this area right here. I'm going to give myself some tonal value. No, the color I'm using is actually cadmium yellow or cadmium orange. In here, we can use yellow ochre as well. Yellow ochre would be a little bit flatter. Here, I'll put some yellow ochre in here. You'll see what I'm talking about. Now this is the under. What I'm doing is basically this is the underside or the underpainting. It's going to actually get darker. And go back and get some gray, because I got some gray rocks going on here too. That's my cliff area back there. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm getting a little bit darker, a little bit grayer. I'm going to try to define some of these. Let's get some burnt sienna in here too as well. In my cliffs. And we're going to get a little bit of, take a little bit of New Gamboge added to this. I'm going to put some sort of green up in this. A little bit of New Gamboge with my blue. Now the New Gamboge, I'm using a little bit of New Gamboge and I'm using a little bit of cobalt blue here. All right, so we're going to have my cliffs, going from the greens on the top of the cliff. They'll actually end up being green browns pretty soon. You know, essentially those greens are going to just give it a nice feel. There's a nice transition that happens, a transformation, I guess, or transition between when I do this, and I'm creating this sort of green grass area plus cliffs, plus the cliffs. You know, rocky areas. Now I'll go back to my green browns. I'm going to go back to my yellow ochre. Sorry, not my yellow ochre, but my new gamboge combined with my cobalt blue to make that sort of greenish feel to it here. And we're going to get okay. And again, the rocks. As I come down to the water, we have some of this water that's going up into this area, obviously. Got some white water in here. Some sand. Maybe make this a little bit darker. We should probably make some of this nice and dark down here. Okay, so if that's going to be there, we need to make this actually water-wise here. We'd have to probably make this a little bit more interesting in terms of the value. Of the water against the cliffs. Okay, well that's fairly light. Might darken that up a bit. We'll see what happens as I go forward. Okay. Okay, so what I need now is what happens in here. We're going to do a yellow ochre, this house here. Let me just do this nice warm yellow, or I'm going to add some Naples yellow to this. And we'll do this front area here. Okay. All right. I want to get some nice darks. Here and here and here. Darks in there. And make this nice and dark as well. And we're going to end up having a little shadow, obviously, under here. And we'll do a shadow underneath that. So if the light's coming this way, there'll be a shadow there. We'll do a little shadow here. Okay, this whole thing would be dark. We'll make that actually darker, but I think what I'm going to do is make the roofs in all of these about the same. Now this is just on the house. What I'm doing is I'm just doing darker colors. I'm just sort of mixing my burnt sienna and my French ultramarine blue or cobalt blue, whatever, in there. I'm just doing that. Okay, and I'm just going to end up probably doing the same thing with this here, although I think what I'll do is I'll just make this, let me just make this on a little bit redder side. Okay. It's going to be dark, but it's going to be red. And we'll just we'll do this one here. The roof right here. Sort of follow the pattern. See, I can paint a nice thin line with this brush, which is nice, without going to my rigger. Well, I can go to my rigger, no problem, but I don't need to go to my rigger right away. Okay. Okay. Just wanted to be somewhat careful on that. So we've got that roof. We put the yeah. One there will come over here. There's a little something out there. Gotta let that dry. But I can create do something like that. See what happens. I'll make that some of that darker to make sure that it works out okay. Okay, and maybe we got another one out here, I don't know. You know, we're going to have to get darken those up, but we can do that. We want to make them a little stronger. I think I want to make my cliffs a little bit stronger too. It's a little bit too light, I think. Yeah. Okay, so let's just do that. Let's get my cliffs in here, and we'll sort of darken that up a little bit more by just, you know, we'll just come down here with some all right. That'll brighten that up. All right. We'll use that as the base. Let that dry out. And come back over here into my area down here. We need to do some rocks down in this area here. So let's get some warmth in here first. So we're going to take, before I do anything, we'll just give this a base coating of nice light underneath. We'll do this. So my base coat underneath, the warmth that I'll let come through. Okay, so this is going to be dark. All right. Those will be dark there. Like this nice and dark over here. Some rocks in the foreground. We don't want too many, just enough to give it a little bit of a nice feel. All right, nice bright. All righty. Nice and dark. All right. Soften these up as they come down. Nice strong blue, dark back here. Way back, all right. And we want a real dark against this. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Go back and get that. Now I'm going to do this a little bit darker up here. I need I want this a little bit darker. Let's get this thing over here. See if I can straighten that out. Okay, that's good. Okay. Now don't know if I can lift that, but we'll try. Oh, we're gonna have to make it darker, I guess. I can wash this out a little bit more. Lighten that up. Yep. We'll do the same thing with this. Okay, good. Same thing with this. Okay. Then I'll make a darker roof there. We'll make this all dark. One darker area here. Yeah. Let me just get a little bit of red in that. Changing the, what I'm doing is I'm just changing this up a little bit. Not too much, just changing it up a bit. That's good, that's good. Okay. And as I look at my photograph, and here's the stuff that I'm working with right here. I changed this all up over here. I'm going to just go back and curl this. This is all pretty good in here. All right, and this is all white in here. I'm gonna erase all of that. So do I have to really curl that? I wonder if I should. Give it a little bit of a. So that's okay, and I think, I'm not sure, but I think I want to just make some of this stuff here just a little bit darker. Greener. Make a little bit of, make some trees, I guess. Make this a little bit darker in here. I do have to put a little bit, I'll get my rigger, and I'm going to have to put little tiny darks here and there. Okay. Okay, can I do that up here? Well, should be able to do it here. All right. Let me just do that right now. That's not dry enough. All right. All right, so all right. Chasing the darks. This will work out all right. I'm just chasing some of the darks here, that's all. Now, let's get this foreground completed and then we'll be done. So we have some this is yellow ochre now I'm using. Don't need much. And then my rock's going to be little mid value, light value, dark value. Notice what I'm doing is I'm doing these lines. These are pretty straight. Now I got my plane is over on the right side. I got these rocks are sort of jagged, but they're plane. Here's plane one, which the light is hitting. This is the dark. This is going to be some darks over here, and then there's going to be darks and mid values on this side. So I'm just trying to get this where I want it. And we'll make this darker down here where it's close to the water. Okay. And then the same way with this. All right. Watch. All right, so we have this nice dark up here. Okay. Actually, maybe we'll do that too. Well, let's see. All right, so this would be darker down here because it's close. You're down in this area here. That would be nice and dark back in this area here. And we'll make something even darker. Same way with over here. We're going to just make this nice. Yeah, just come in here. Again. My rocks. All right, there's some rocks in the foreground. I don't want to, I could make all of this really huge, but I don't think I want to do that. I just want to sort of just put enough in there to make the statement, because I think I'd like to get your attention back in this area here. So, let's see if I can get it back there. I don't know. Can I get your attention back there? Close. Need it strong enough, I guess. All right. And again, strength back there. Okay, sounds good, looks good. Looks good. Looks good. We're gonna get some real, let's get some real heavy sort of okay, what I'm going to do now is just pretty much finished. Pretty much finished. I think all I really need to do is to get a few more docks in that in the windows in that house back there. And maybe I can do that with my rigger. Or maybe this brush here. And then I'll put some little finishing touches in the water down here and we should be fine. So I'm mixing up my dark here. Dry brush. A little window there, a little window here, here, and here. Okay, and under here. All right. Put that there. Okay, let's see how that works out. Okay, that's it, I think. I think all I'm going to do. Okay, we're going to let that go. We're going to see how that works out. I think we got enough. We're going to call it a painting. So, I'm your host, Tony Visco. Thank you for being with me. I hope this was fun to do. We've got this sort of rolling waves coming in. And, you know, we'll just do a couple of these little stuff that comes in on the water. Thank you for being with me for Painting for Pleasure. Until the next time, every time you pick up a brush, remember, that's what you want to do. You want to always paint for pleasure. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Okay, I got away from this for a while, and after looking at it, I decided to add a few little small things just to whiten it up a little bit. Use some white opaque in here. Probably we'll put a little bit more in some of these areas once it dries, just to make sure that this is sort of turning the way it's supposed to. So that's it. Again, thank you for being with me. I'm your host, Tony Visco, and this is Painting for Pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.